for being with us here on Court TV Live. We're going to turn our attention to the state of Ohio now, where a teenager is looking at life in prison after she was convicted of killing 2 other people, including her boyfriend. 19-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla was convicted of intentionally driving her on-again, off-again boyfriend and a friend into a wall. She was the driver. Her boyfriend and friend were passengers, and the allegation is she intentionally wrecked into the wall back in 2022. Shirilla was 17 at the time of the crash. She had a history, actually, of making these types of threats against her boyfriend, one instance occurring just weeks before that fatal collision. And she's set to learn her fate at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. We'll go there live when it happens. Does the punishment align with the crime, though? We're going to talk about that in a moment. I want to turn now to Court TV anchor Ted Rollins, who filed this report for us with a backdrop of the case.
The court finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder.
Mackenzie Shirilla would hear the judge pronounce her guilty 11 more times, 12 charges in all, including murder, felonious assault, and aggravated vehicular manslaughter.
Guilty of felonious assault.
The verdicts were the culmination of a 4-day trial in which Shirilla was accused of intentionally driving her car into a brick wall at speeds of anywhere between 90 and 100 miles an hour. Investigators say she never attempted to brake. The crash killed her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and friend, Davion Flanagan. Shirilla did not testify at trial, but posted this message on Russo's online obituary in August of 2022, less than a month after the fatal collision. It read, in part, "God, you are the last person to deserve this. You had such a perfect life ahead of you." Dominic Russo was the youngest of 7.
His name was Dominic, so we called him Dominucci or Nucci. So he was always the one that would make us smile. He always had the biggest smile on his face.
The loss of the 2 young men, a shock to this tight-knit Ohio community. Friends and family gathered at the crash site a day after to mourn and share memories.
It was shocking. We've known Davion for about 14 years. They've been neighbors of ours. We've watched him grow up from this little scrawny kid to this big muscular football player. And he was really like a third son for me, so it was devastating.
William Vaughn coached Russo and Flanagan in football.
They worked hard, both of them. They worked hard to try to represent the school. I can say that all of the coaches love these kids. I mean, these are my kids.
The defense argued that this was a case of reckless driving, not murder. But the judge who decided the case didn't buy it.
She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels.
Wow. Ted Rollins reporting for us again, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to go there live when this happens. I want to bring back in my guest, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Noah Pines, on the show today. Gosh, Noah, this is just so terrible. You know, of course, our hearts go out to the 2 young people who were killed. What's your assessment of the prosecution and where things go from here in terms of sentencing for this young woman?
Well, I'm a defense attorney, so I'm thinking about the defense and not to Monday morning quarterback, but it is Monday morning.
Right.
And why a bench trial in this case? Were the legal issues that, I mean, typically you'll do that if you have really good legal issues and you want to take the emotion out of it. But you have a 17-year-old girl at the time and 19 now and still very young and undeveloped brain, and you'd think you want a little bit of jury emotion in there to cut her a break, not cut her a break and say she's not responsible. She's clearly responsible for the deaths, but not the murder part of it, more of a vehicular homicide. So in Georgia, we have felony vehicular homicide, 1 to 15 years, and then we have murder, which is mandatory life.
Wow.
So there's a big difference between the 2, and it doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve punishment and go to prison.
Sure.
But the question is, does she deserve to go to prison for the rest of her life?
That's a really interesting question. That's something the judge is going to have to be wrestling with this afternoon. Something that stunned me and may stun you and all of you at home too. We know this incident happened on July 31st of 2022. On July 17th of 2022, almost an identical kind of thing occurred with threats. Her boyfriend was in the car. She was driving with him on the interstate. Apparently, she was threatening to crash the car then. And they're in this big disagreement. He called his mother, asked to be picked up. And another friend who was on the phone with the victim said, this friend heard her saying, I'll crash this car right now. I'll crash this car right now. And apparently this friend also saw, after they pulled over, her hitting him, hitting her boyfriend with, both of her hands. She sounds like an abuser to me, Noah. I mean, I know she looks like a, scrawny, young kid. She looks, so young. She is so young. She's 17. But, I mean, like, she seems dangerous to me. Put your prosecutor hat back on.
Dangerous or emotionally unstable? I mean, you have
both.
To, I mean, you have to put it in context of teenagers and what teenagers say and what teenagers do and hormones and emotions. And again, I'm not making any excuses for anybody, and I'm not victim blaming for him getting back in the car.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not.
But, at some point, obviously, he felt comfortable enough to get back in the car. So maybe they had a volatile relationship. Maybe she had some, anger issues, or she was overly emotional. There's lots of, obviously, lots of stuff there.
Right.
And she deserves to be punished. But again, does she deserve to go to prison for the rest of her life? I guess we're going to find that out today.
Right. This is going to be a big decision. Whether someone like that can be rehabilitated, don't know. You would argue as a defense attorney she could be, because of her age.
Yeah, I would argue that it's probably just now sinking in. It's probably at this point, you could see that look on her face of like, this is real, right? This is my reality, and I'm gonna have to deal with it. I just don't understand the bench trial aspect of it. Maybe there was some strategy behind it, but it doesn't seem like the judge really bought any of it.
Yeah, you wonder, I mean, that prior bad act evidence about the other incident, was allowed in. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Well, I mean, when I pick a jury, I say, who here has been through a bad breakup or divorce? And every hand goes up. And I say, not high school breakup. Every hand goes down.
After high school. Wow. Right. Noah Pines, we always love having you on the show. We know you got to get off to court. Thank you so much for everything this morning.